All right, let's get right into it. For a while now, the big debate in software has been framed as this huge choice, right? You either have meticulous human craftsmanship or you have lightning-fast AI generation. But here's the thing, what if that's a false choice? What if both of those paths, when you take them to the extreme, just lead to total disaster?
I mean, you've seen this movie before. On one hand, you've got the senior developer absolutely buried under a mountain of manual work, missing deadlines, and just getting completely burned out. And on the other, a developer asks an AI to build the same thing and poof, a massive application appears in seconds, only to immediately start cracking and collapsing the moment it faces any real-world pressure. Neither of these options works. This is not a sustainable future.
So, here's the real insight, the thing we all need to get. The problem isn't about picking a team, human versus AI. It's about deeply understanding why each of these approaches completely fails when it's left on its own. That's the fundamental shift in thinking we have to make, and we have to make it now. Look, this conversation is so important for every single developer trying to figure out this new world. It all starts with that mindset shift. So if you get that, share this with a developer you know, maybe one who's leaning too hard on AI or one who's avoiding it completely. And make sure you're subscribed to Lalit Official, because we're about to tear this whole problem apart. Okay, so let's dig in and break down exactly why these two extremes just don't work. This isn't just an opinion. We're looking at the actual breaking points we're seeing in modern software development.
First up, the human-only way. Honestly, it's collapsing under its own weight. As systems get more and more complex, the mental effort, what we call cognitive load, it just becomes completely overwhelming. You're constantly switching context, from coding to debugging to planning to meetings, and it just drains your productivity. It slows everything down, and it's leading to massive burnout. I mean, we're talking about a staggering 82% of engineers feeling this.
Now, on the flip side, pure AI generation is just as dangerous. See, an AI can't think in systems. It doesn't have architectural foresight. It's just optimizing to complete a task, not to build a system that's correct, secure, and can actually last. This leads to what some people are calling hallucinated architectures, systems that look right on the surface but are fundamentally broken underneath.
And what happens when you combine these two failures? You get this vicious cycle. We can call it a cognitive debt spiral, where all this unchecked complexity, whether it's from a human or an AI, just grinds teams to a halt and introduces a ton of risk.
To really get our heads around this, we need to talk about a specific term, cognitive load. So what is it? It's simply the total amount of mental effort that you're using in your short-term memory at any given time. And right now, in software, this has become the single biggest bottleneck to actually getting things shipped.
Now here's what's so fascinating. Not all cognitive load is bad. You've got intrinsic load, which is just how hard the problem is. Then there's germane load, and that's the good kind of effort, the stuff you use for learning and really understanding things. The real enemy, the thing we have to fight, is extraneous load. That's all the wasted mental energy from clunky tools, confusing code, constant interruptions, all the unnecessary friction that gets in our way.
And wow, this chart really shows the risk of just letting AI run wild. Studies are showing that AI-generated code has 2 to 3 times more duplication. Why? Because it doesn't think about creating reusable parts. It just completes the task. But even worse, a recent study found that 62% of AI-generated solutions had security flaws. That's getting something done fast, but with a massive, catastrophic hidden cost.
And this quote right here, it absolutely nails the biggest danger. When a developer just clicks accept on what an AI suggests, they skip the hard part. They skip the struggle. But that struggle, that's where the deep understanding comes from. Without that, you can't debug properly, you can't maintain the system, and you never really own it. This whole undirected, let's just ask the AI and hope for the best approach, people are starting to call it vibe coding. You're just guiding the AI with a feeling instead of a real plan. It feels fast, but it's a super dangerous path that builds up all this invisible risk. It's time for something better. So, if you're ready for a real approach, go ahead and like this video and drop vibe coding in the comments to show you get it. Okay, so we've torn apart the problem. Now, let's talk about the solution. And it's not about going back to the old way of doing things. It's about evolving into something totally new, the Cyborg developer, where we fuse our strategic human judgment with the high-speed execution power of AI.
And the core idea behind this is something called cyborg cognition. Now, this isn't just a cool metaphor. It's a real description of a system where the human is the strategist.
You set the goals, you define the architecture. And the AI, it becomes a powerful extension of your own mind, executing tasks and gathering information inside the boundaries that you created.
And get this isn't just some cool-sounding idea. It's actually measurable. Researchers looked at how developers use tools like GitHub Copilot and came up with a cognitive delegation score. Basically, it tracks how much complex work a developer successfully offloads to the AI. They found that a score around 0.71 is the sweet spot. That's the sign of a developer who's truly operating in that cyborg range, using AI as a real partner. It's the peak of productivity.
So, the big question is, how do you actually get to that sweet spot? Well, it all starts with a simple, non-negotiable rule. You have to design the blueprint first. You have to put structure and constraints on the AI before it ever writes a single line of code for production.
All right, here's the practical 4-step workflow. Step 1, the human, that's you, designs the architectural blueprint. This is the big picture thinking the AI can't do. Step 2, you define the hard rules, the constraints, the system boundaries. Only then, step 3, do you let the AI go to work accelerating the implementation inside that safe box you've built. And finally, step 4, you validate and verify. This isn't just a quick look, it's a serious quality gate where you interrogate everything the AI produced for correctness, for security, for performance. Human strategy, AI speed, human quality control. That's the loop.
So what does all this mean for the future? This new way of working points to the real endgame for developers. The most valuable skill going forward isn't what you might think it is.
So what is it? What's the #1 career-defining skill for this new kind of developer?
The skill is orchestration. It's the ability to coordinate a bunch of different AI-assisted tasks, manage all the complex dependencies across the system, and constantly interrogate the AI's output to make sure everything is consistent and correct. You're moving from just writing lines of code to being the designer, the architect, the conductor of an AI-assisted symphony.
So when you boil it all down, what's the big takeaway? It really comes down to this simple balance. Speed without structure is just a faster way to build something that's going to catastrophically fail. But on the flip side, having total control without any acceleration, that just means you're going to get left in the dust by the market.
And this completely redefines what it means to be a senior engineer, right? The most valuable people on a team are no longer just the ones who can write the most code, they're the ones who can design the systems that enable code to be written correctly, safely, and really, really fast.
So let's just be crystal clear about this. The era of choosing between human and AI, it's over. The only real competitive advantage you have left is mastering the balance between the two.
If this new way of thinking clicked for you, do me a favor and share this with another developer in your network who needs to hear it. Like the video, and of course, subscribe to Lalit Official so we can keep having these essential conversations. The world is changing faster than ever, and mastering this balance is how you stay ahead of the curve. Thanks for watching.